Lawin Media Network.
Bringing to you the most relevant content across all platforms.
Business, legal, politics, health, lifestyle, and entertainment.
Your source for all the news and updates in the greater Houston community from Texas and all over the world.
Get informed and empowered with Lawin Media Network.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Pink Table Talk. I'm your host, Dr. Carly D., a doctorally prepared nurse, educator, mentor, professional development special, and victims advocate and survivor. The show is produced by Lawin Media Network, and you can catch us live every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central, 8 o'clock Eastern on either our YouTube live channel, Facebook Live, Twitch TV, or over 18 different podcast platforms, including Google, Amazon, Spotify, and Apple. Tonight, we have a special guest for you guys, Dr. Danielle Griffin. She is a speaker, educator, and coach who has dedicated her life to helping people live healthier, happier lives. She speaks on a range of topics, including stress reduction, pain management, anxiety relief, trauma-based healing, mindfulness, and peak performance through the mind-body connection. So I'd like to welcome to the show Dr. Danielle Griffin.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Dr. Griffin. I'm so delighted to have you on our show. I'm so inspired and intrigued by the work that you are doing. So I'm just looking forward to this conversation this evening.
Yes, thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Thank you. So could you tell our audience a little bit about yourself, where you're from, your upbringing, and your educational journey?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Well, I'm originally from Phoenix, Arizona, but I live in Houston, Texas now. So I've been in Texas for almost 14 years since my oldest was 4 months old. We moved from Tucson, Arizona to Texas. So been here for a while. And I have a doctorate in education and organizational leadership. I have a background in microbiology. That's what my undergraduate was in, with a minor in chemistry, and as well as a master's degree in disaster preparation. So pretty diverse background.
Yes.
But my professional experience is also pretty diverse. A lot of research, working at universities. That's what brought me to Texas. But I've always had an interest in health, right? Health, medicine, healing, and learning how to, help others heal, whether it's through, different medical practices, naturopathic medicine, and using different techniques, holistic techniques for myself to improve my well-being, whether that's just fitness, nutrition, as well as, the mind-body experience. And so once, kind of fast forwarding through time, once COVID happened, I was pregnant with my second child in 2020. And shortly after I had him, my father-in-law passed away, as well as my dad a couple months after him. So it was, very devastating for our family. Stressful, we had the stress of COVID plus the the ailments and things, and they didn't pass from COVID, they passed from other ailments. But it created a lot of tension in our lives. We were grieving lots of changes, the trauma from COVID itself, right? Just all that was going on, being on lockdown, almost not even be able to have my husband present when I had my baby. Because all that was going on during that time. I went through postpartum depression. I also had another business, a travel agency, that during that time was also very stressful to manage that business because nobody was traveling and the trips that I had were canceling. So it was just lots of turbulence, lots of uncertainty. And my body was going through a lot of physical changes, recovering from the childbirth, the stress, the pain, the grief, all of that, working myself to the ground, almost literally, because I had high blood pressure issues, that resulted from the pregnancy, but I was struggling to get under control because of everything that was going on in my life. But I couldn't understand why, like, why am I feeling this way? But was trying to find some health and wellness options that worked for me, that worked with my schedule, that felt good. I was trying to do some weightlifting and things, but everything made me feel like a train wreck. Things that I could do before did not feel good for me. And so during that time, I started going to yoga. I wasn't new to yoga, but it just seemed right. We had a new yoga studio that opened up near us. And that's where I started getting a little more mobile again, getting some of my strength back, losing a little bit more weight. And that new studio, we're looking for new yoga instructors. And they had a trainer there. And I just happened to ask. I wasn't necessarily looking to become a yoga instructor. Curious, I knew a few other people who were teachers, but I didn't know about like the journey and what it all entailed. And so it was kind of a glad you asked sort of situation. And before I knew it, I was signed up to do the yoga teacher training.
Wow.
So I became a yoga instructor. And from there, on the path of holistic wellness, it can be a gateway, if you will. You learn about one thing and you just start, learning about various different methods, all that kind of goes along with it or, adjacent to it. And that's when I learned about somatic healing, as well as the hypnotherapy, and using that to heal the mind and body.
Wow.
And so once I kind of learned about the hypnotherapy, I was practicing doing audio recordings, like listening it in my headphones in the evenings. And I saw a huge shift in my own life. I was able to start getting rest, stop stressing over so much. It changed my perception on my relationships, how I interacted with other people. And once I saw how huge of an impact that had on me in such a short period of time as well, like 2 months at the most, I think it was like April to mid-May. And I learned that they had a certification program. And when I learned, like, this is something I can do. I can learn this and teach other people. This is something I have to do. Like, there's so many people that I know that could benefit from this. Like I can't not know it. I can't hold this to myself and let people wonder what I did and not be able to share it and help them as well. So I almost immediately signed up for the program, and like within a couple months, it didn't start right away, but within a couple months, I was taking the training on live calls with people, doing practice labs, um, learning the somatics, getting certified.
Yeah. Wow.
And through that process, realize like I need to write about it. I need to write a book. So it's kind of jointly going through the trainings, finishing that up, as well as writing the book Somatic Exercise Made Simple, because it was a resource that I could put in writing that could get to as many people as possible, outside of individual touch points. I could
Yes.
share it with many people.
Wow. Awesome. That is such an amazing journey. Wow. Can you tell us what type of yoga it is? Because I see all kinds. There's like Bikram yoga, Dhan yoga, hot yoga.
Right.
What kind of yoga is it?
Yes. Well, so I'm certified as a Vinyasa yoga instructor, which is more like a flow, right? Vinyasa means flow, so breath to movement. So it can be a slower pace. It's not usually fast, but just more of a steady pace. But with somatics, it's not necessarily yoga. You can have somatic yoga, but the practice of somatics is a mind-body experience. It's three parts. It's breath work, it's the movement, and it's the meditation, which are often pieces of yoga, but it varies on the types of yoga. You might have one thing, you might have another, but it's all three that together that makes it somatics. Bringing
Wow.
body awareness, taking the time to meditate, to understand how you're feeling and where your body needs that additional love and attention.
Yes.
So that you can focus your movements on those areas to relieve that stress, tension, the pain, discomfort, whatever you're feeling in that moment. You can target those areas using specific movements, often mobility type movements, rotations, various stretches to relieve that tension. And then at the end, meditating to, not just center, but help your body understand that, okay, I want to heal this area. This is the area we focused on. I'm breathing, oxygen, blood into those areas, allowing the movement to circulate through those areas, and now continuing that healing process throughout my body. That now that I set those intentions for myself, mentally and physically, so I can continue to heal.
Wow, that's awesome. That is really amazing. I've been hearing a lot lately about somatic work. Could you just give us the definition of the somatic for our audience to understand better?
Yeah, in simple terms, right? It's an awareness of the body. So using that, like I said, those three parts to bring awareness to yourself. So through the breath work, the meditation movement, having mental and physical awareness, whether it comes across in how you interact with people because of the stress and anxiety that you're dealing with, or how you physically carry yourself,
Yeah.
and just how you feel in general emotionally.
Yes. Wow. Wow. So important, that work. Wow. That's so impactful. Thank you so much for that, sharing your journey with us to becoming a healer. We're going to go to our first commercial break of the evening, but stay tuned for more Pink Table Talk with Dr. Griffin. Welcome back to Pink Table Talk. Tonight we are speaking with Dr. Griffin. She is a somatic healer, educator, and life coach. Before we went to the break, we talked about the mind body connection and somatization. Dr. Griffin, can you talk to us? Can you explain what is the mind body connection? Working in healthcare for as many years as I have, I've often seen patients coming in with depression and anxiety, but yet they have all these body symptoms, even as far as becoming in like a catatonic state or like a comatose state. So, can you talk to us about that mind body connection?
Yes. So a lot of times when we experience, especially a trauma, right,
Yeah.
our body reacts. We hold those emotions, that tension in various parts of the body, whether, again, mentally or physically. And so if we do not take the opportunity to recognize how we feel and give our bodies the opportunity to decompress, relieve that stress, it continues to compound over time.
Wow.
And so remembering and feeling more connected mentally to how we feel physically, and remembering that those emotions that we carry can impact our physical well-being. And you can even, make it worse by concentrating on the pain,
Hmm.
intensifying it, recognizing how intense does this actually feel? Is this actual pain or is this discomfort? Why am I feeling this way? Sometimes, you know, pain is a scale, but it's also can be mental as well, right? So sometimes
Yeah.
we feel certain things because of past experiences, or we're
Wow.
expecting it to hurt or feel a certain way, and our mind immediately intensifies it, whether it truly does or not. And so it's bringing that awareness that I have control over my own body, right?
Yeah.
Things can still hurt, but I can be in control over my emotions, how I feel, my relation to that, whether it's an interaction with an individual or that visit with the physician. I was having a conversation with my mom about getting shots and needles, right? A common thing a lot of children are afraid of, because my son
Yeah.
had his immunizations, right?
Mhm.
And just techniques that I learned, even a nurse when I was young gave me techniques to disassociate myself from the pain, right?
Oh,
And so we
interesting.
we learn those various techniques rather than concentrating and focusing like this hurts, this hurts, this hurts. And way methods to disassociate from it, to lessen the pain, to um, in some cases, not even really feel the pain, or, just reduce, being able to manage it so that you can continue to move on and function through life. So you're not, like you mentioned, catatonic, or you
Yeah.
can get up and function to go to work. You can make it through the day. And then being able to have the tools you need to find relief. One common thing, especially being a desk worker, I often get the shoulder pain, the neck pain,
Yeah.
which a lot of
Yeah.
us suffer from now
Oh,
these days. It's
yes,
probably one of the most common, and lower back, neck, shoulder, lower back. Those are the most common. But having those tools so that you can relieve some of that tension, whether it just be a few minutes throughout the day so you can make it through the day, so you're not in so much pain by the time you get home or ready for bed. Um, and then finding like opportunities or understanding when you need it the most. Are you going into a stressful situation? Knowing the triggers. That's I have a community that I started recently, and that's something that we've been talking about, the various types of triggers that will cause people to react emotionally and physically.
Wow, interesting. Interesting. Wow. And your first book, Somatic Exercise Made Simple. So it's a book series that gives practical guidance for incorporating somatic exercise into daily routine. Can you tell us how can people incorporate these exercises into their daily life?
Yeah. Um, at any point throughout the day when you feel like you need it most. So
Yes.
I kind of break the day up, morning, afternoon, evening. When I first get
Yes.
up in the morning, I may not do the full thing. And I say full thing, meaning like 10, 15 minutes is really all you all you need. But I like I like to start my day with meditation, right?
Oh,
Meditating,
yes.
breath work, warming up my body and preparing myself mentally for the day, setting the tone for my day, not worrying about, oh, what meetings do I have? Who do I have to see? What appointments do I have to go to? And just allow myself to take in the morning, sense how I'm feeling in that moment. You know, do I feel any stiffness or anything from how I was sleeping, work out any of that pain or discomfort or whatever the case may be? Maybe I just need a stretch and
Yes.
then go on and start my morning. Like I said, it doesn't have to take long, 15 minutes maybe. Um, and then you have the midday. If you've been working diligently at your desk, maybe you need those neck and shoulder stretches. Maybe you need a few deep breaths, you know,
Yes.
taking time to breathe before the meeting. I call it my 90-second reset, like, all right, I'm about to get on this call. Let me breathe. Let me decompress, relieve some tension so I can have this conversation, whatever it's about to be, whether it's good or bad, just sometimes you just need to like level set, especially if like you're moving from one thing to another quickly, right? Like, all right, I need to transition, help center myself to be prepared for the next conversation. And then the evening, instead of going just, showering, getting straight in the bed, it, similar activities from the morning, breath work, meditating. It's great to do the movement at night as well. You really prepare your body for rest. This is great for people that um, have some insomnia issues or struggle
Yes.
with sleeping. Especially my entrepreneur friends, they're often stressed, worried about their business, or not even necessarily worried, but just like always busy, concerned about the
Yes.
to-do list and never ending. And so
Yes.
they often have trouble sleeping or have broken sleep. But
Yes.
I found that with the somatic exercise, it prepares myself for a deep, restful sleep. And even if I happen to get up in the middle of the night, maybe I have to use the restroom. That used to be
Mhm.
common for me that, okay, I get up and then I can't go back to sleep. Now I have the
Yeah.
tools so that I can fall back to sleep and still have a nice night's rest. So
That sounds wonderful. I can
you're
use all of that. I got the neck
right.
pain, insomnia.
I
All
get
of
the
them.
best sleep. I used to be a really light sleeper, and I still technically am. Like things can wake me up easily. My husband snores, or
Oh, yeah, mom too. We don't have to sleep.
right. But now I can fall asleep faster. I get a deeper sleep, um, and like I said, it's more rested, more um, complete. So I have more hours. Like, oh wow, few nights I got pretty close to 8 hours of sleep. proud of
Wow,
myself.
that's great. That's really great.
You're right. Where before, I was, especially when I was, working to really bring back my business, which I was successful at doing. I had put in a lot of hours, but I was going to bed at like 2 o'clock in the morning and then waking up again at like 4:30, 5 o'clock. And not necessarily intentionally waking up that early, but just your mind going. I'd wake up, couldn't fall back to sleep. I had big bags under my eyes. I was tired. And that was one of the things that made me realize I needed to change. My husband's like, "You're starting to look old."
Oh
Like, what's going on? You're like,
no.
right. Like, I'm tired. Like, I have so much going on. I'm doing all this stuff. I don't know how to reverse it. But it was just started kind of on this path, just research. There were a couple words that had triggered. I was working with another coach, and she used the expression like, the money will come, right? And so I kept repeating that phrase in my head, like, all right, what does this mean? Like, I recognize that phrase. What does that mean? Okay, that's related to manifestation and abundance. And that's really how I got down the path of the hypnotherapy, like understanding what that means and having that mindset shift. Like, I get, okay, the money will come, but what if, right? The what if, that's what I kept asking myself. What if I stop doing this? Or what if I, let somebody else do it and it falls through? Like, if I'm putting in the work, it's going to work out. Like, you know that it's going to work out. I'm like, I know that it will, because I know I do good work. I know that I have a goal and I'm going to achieve it. But there was still that little thing like, but life happens. What, like, I can't control the external. And that's really where, the somatics and the, I combine hypnotherapy as my modality for the meditation piece. So hypnotherapy is really just a form of meditation, but it's a little bit deeper and it's suggestive. Like, usually you have somebody guiding you and with whatever you set the intentions are, versus us focusing or whatever the case may be. So that's kind of how I'm different from other people, is I combine the two. And so it was really going through the process of understanding and learning about that mindset shift and applying it to my own life that things really started to shift for me. And like I said, in such a short period of time. So.
Wow, amazing, amazing. This is such a great conversation. I'm really enjoying this. But we have to take another commercial break. But everybody stay tuned for more Pink Table Talk. We'll be back right away with Dr. Griffin.
In a world filled with fleeting moments, there's beauty waiting to be captured. My name is Christian, and I specialize in immortalizing your most precious memories. From elegant weddings to vibrant events and timeless portraits, I'm here to make every moment unforgettable. Let me tell your story through the lens. Contact me today and let's create magic together.
Welcome back, everybody, to Pink Table Talk. The show is produced by Lawin Media Network, and you can catch us live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 o'clock Eastern on Lawin Media Network YouTube or Facebook or Twitch TV. And we also are on 18 different podcast platforms, including Spotify, Amazon, Apple, and Google. So tonight we're talking with Dr. Danielle Griffin. Dr. Griffin, I had a question. What are the typical types of people that you see and treat? What are some of the disorders and things they're coming to you for? What are they seeking healing for?
Yeah. Most of the people, if I were to generalize, I say busy professionals, right? People working, have their day-to-day lives, their family life, juggling multiple things, their career, maybe a business, maybe both, and dealing with everyday problems, right?
Yes,
Similar
everybody.
to what I, experience. Everyone goes through grief. We all will
Yeah.
lose a loved one at some point in time. A lot of us have been or will be caretakers of somebody. Um, Maybe they've going through a divorce or have gone through a divorce. Um, and it just becomes a lot to bear. You know,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
overwhelming life situations, things going on, juggling multiple activities,
Yeah.
pressure, feeling pressure from work, um, loss, whether it be loss of job, loss of family member.
Mm.
Um, I was recently working with a group who, they're in the CPS system, so the loss of their children. So
Mm.
that's a form of
Oh,
grief as well.
yeah.
And just helping people cope, right?
Mm.
Helping them move forward, learn, understanding that these things happen.
Mhm.
Oftentimes, it might have been out of your control, um,
Right.
but you can't change what happened, but you can change how you move forward. You can change how
Yeah.
you react to it and how
Yeah.
it impacts your life going forward. Let's
Yes.
find some ways to view the situation positively so that you can be a better person. You can be a better
Yes.
person for you so that you can be happy, healthy. You can live the life that you want to live. You can be a better person for your family. You can show up for them in the way that you want to and the way that they need you to. Um, and you can be a better person for all the other reasons, whether it be, like I said, professionally, whether if you're looking to get promotions or expand your career or business, making sure that you have the tools and resources you need to reach whatever those goals are that you say that you want. That's kind of the big question, like what is it you want? Understanding that
Mm.
desire and making it a positive. That's what I've learned in some of my coaching. Oftentimes we want to say, well, I don't want to do this anymore, or I want to stop doing that. But what is it that you want? How do you
Yeah.
want your life to look like?
Yeah.
We're steering away from the negative and changing our mentality and our mindset to the positive.
Yes.
And then once we
Wow.
define what it is we want, what are we going to do to make it happen?
Yes. Oh, that's so awesome. I remember learning years and years ago when I was in college that Olympic athletes, the ones who won gold medals, that before the competition, they started visualizing themselves
Mhm.
winning. And
Yes.
so, like, yeah, so like for the runners, they would see themselves, crossing the line. They would envision that and they would meditate and think about that
Hmm.
for even months before the competition. And
Yes.
so that to me, yeah, I've used that same like visual imagery and kind of positive self-talk when I thought about my own goals and dreams and visions in life. And it's so much power in that vision and just envisioning it. It
Yes.
really is.
Yeah.
It's a very powerful tool.
It's that expression, seeing is believing, right? Or if you can't if you can't see yourself doing it, then it's not going to happen, right? If you can't
Yes.
visualize yourself having $1 million, a lot of times we can say, "Oh, I want $1 million. I want to win the lottery." But do you really what do you look like in your mind? Can you see your bank account with all the zeros, right? If you can't see it,
Yes.
whether
Wow.
it be with, like you mentioned, with sports athletes, there's
Yeah.
Olympic swimmers, divers, watching themselves do the movement, seeing
Yeah.
yourself, that kind of disassociation, seeing yourself and exactly how you perform the action and what you need to do to make it perfect, or to do it in the time frame that you need to do it, or how you need to do it without injuring yourself. Um, Knowing what it feels like, embodying that experience.
Yes.
And once
Wow.
you made that connection and you can see it over and over and over again, it will happen.
Yeah, that's so true. You also made a great point too earlier when you said that people will say, well, I don't want this, I don't want that. But then you mentioned, well, what do you want? And
Right.
to me, it reminded me of like that negative self-talk, like when we're
Mhm.
always talking negative to ourselves. And so
Yes.
people say, well, don't speak negative to yourself, get those negative thoughts out your mind. But what I learned recently was, a couple years ago, was, but you have to fill it with good words, with positive words, with things
Right.
that you want to affirm in yourself. So I kind of felt that there was some similarities there with that too. It's like, it's
Yeah.
not just about, yeah, like just negating something from our life. It's about adding and thinking of
Yes,
what we do want. Yeah. So,
definitely. When we do the hypnotherapy, a lot of that goes into it, the affirmations, the
yes.
um, kind of channeling those experiences where you felt those positive feelings, joy, happiness, love, and anchoring those feelings so that you can continue to experience them throughout your day, throughout your life, reminding yourself how that felt, that expression, those things that you did, or the people, whatever the case may be, that made you feel those things, and carrying it with you. So
Yeah.
it's I used to think that affirmations were kind of a waste of time, honestly. That I used to not think positive about vision boards. Like, why am I doing this? Like, but I mean, everybody has their own method of visualizing, and that's what I learned. Like, the vision board for people is their form of seeing
Yeah.
themselves, visualizing. It may not actually be a picture of them, you know, with a family and a beautiful house, but they can see themselves in that image, right? That
Yes.
reflection reminds them of aspects of their life. But everybody may not need that same form of visualization. There's different ways to do it, right? So for me, I preferred the hypnotherapy, but it's, again, again, it's a similar concept as long as you have the image. With the hypnotherapy, you may not have somebody to help guide you to see the image. Sometimes people say, "Oh, um, I'm not a visual person," or "I don't think it can be hypnotized because I can't see." If you can imagine, like if you have an imagination, that's really all it is, right? If you can tell me, if I say, what color is your car, and if you have any scratches or dings on it, where is it? If you can give me all those descriptions, you're a visual
Mm.
person. Right?
Wow.
Just might look a
Wow.
little different or feel, it's just channeling that energy so that you can understand like what it actually is and what that means to do the visualization activities, to do the hypnotherapy, because that's all we're really doing.
Wow, I never knew that. I always thought it was just a trick at a birthday party or something. But actually, last year I went through my first group hypnotherapy session, and it actually really helped me. It helped me a lot. It helped me to overcome a lot of fears and anxieties that I was having at the time. And I wasn't sure what to expect going into the session and kind of was a little skeptical.
A lot of
But
people are the first time.
oh, yeah, for sure. And so I'm like, this is not going to even work. But after the group session, I really did feel this peace and this calm. And it's just like what you said. It was just this visualization, her just kind of guiding us to kind of seeing it within ourselves and to feeling it, to try to get our bodies to feel that in that moment. And so it really is a powerful tool. It really is powerful for healing.
Right. I agree. And especially, like I said, when I combined it with the somatics, because you sort of warm up your body, you have that awareness of where you're feeling the stress and anxiety. And then you can deepen going into the hypnotherapy to really relieve and overcome the things, the mentality that's causing that for you.
Yes.
Sometimes it might be an external fear
Yeah.
or discomfort. But once you recognize, I don't have to be afraid of that thing. You know, I can't control that thing, but I can control how I react. That thing doesn't take my joy from me. That thing doesn't take my happiness from me. I can still be these things, even though this is going on, right? So
Yeah.
work is the common theme, the thread. Work is going to be there. Work is often going to be stressful. It's not going away, right? But it doesn't have to mean I, am grumpy or I'm sleepy or, like you said, the negative self-talk, I can speak
Yes.
positively to myself and not be those things. And even after doing the somatics and the hypnosis, the deep meditation, you can feel rested and rejuvenated and have energy. That's the common thing I hear from my clients after we've done a session. They're like, I feel refreshed. Even if it's like 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, I feel like I can go work out or, just have the energy to interact and be present with my family or, and not just want to go to sleep, right?
Yes. I call it the mombi, like a zombie mombi.
Right.
Tell us about the spiritual connection, though, with all of this. What is that like?
It's a little different for everybody. Um, and I would say it's probably just more aligned with your original intentions, what you were needing from the beginning, right? For me, it was rooted in my grief.
Yes.
I was grieving the loss, of my dad. My husband was grieving the loss of his dad. We were both grieving both of them, but it was though that grief was causing strain in our relationship,
Wow.
causing both of us to work even more. We didn't necessarily tie those things back to the grief, but it allowed me to move forward. Allowed me to let go, have a better relationship with my husband, um, mend relationship with my mom, um,
Mm.
and come at peace with myself and who I am, and recognize that
Yes.
I've changed, right? Like I'm still me, but
Mm.
uh, me
Mm.
2.0, right? Like, that loss of that person, they're always going to be in my heart, but I had ties and relationships, maybe with my sisters or aunts and uncles, and now that missing component, right, which was my dad, changed a bit the relationship and how I interact with other people. not necessarily for the bad, but you know,
Mhm.
that force that kind of created that relationship, right? That joined us together
Yeah.
isn't necessarily there anymore. And how we relate to one another might be different.
Yeah.
And being
Wow.
able to come to grips with that, like, hey, we're just moving forward, you know? So,
Yes.
we all
Wow.
still love each other, right? But just it allowed me to understand, like, I may not have as close of a relationship with people, or maybe I got closer with others that I wasn't close with before. Um,
Yeah.
it's okay for things to change. It's okay for things to not be the same. You know, people
Wow.
come and go, and it allowed me to recognize that and just let go and move forward.
Wow. What a tough lesson. That's really hard for a lot of people to grasp. But wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. What an awesome journey. We're going to take our last commercial break of the evening, but everybody stay tuned for more Pink Table Talk with our special guest, Dr. Danielle Griffin.
Tune into Legal Treats with attorney Eileen Legoat Dizon
every Friday 6:30 p.m. Central Time.
Get your weekly dose of legal knowledge, especially on family matters like divorce, child custody, child support, estate planning, probate, and immigration.
Engage in discussion by posting your questions or comments during the show.
See you every Friday at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. That would be Saturday at 8:30 a.m. Philippines.
Don't miss out.
Welcome back to Pink Table Talk. We've been having a wonderful conversation with Dr. Danielle Griffin. Before the break, we were talking about grief and how she can use healing and somatic work to help people heal from grief. So, Dr. Danielle, you also mentioned people come to you for pain relief. Are these people with like sports injuries, or is this pain more related to built-in trauma? What type of pain disorders are people coming to you for?
Yeah, a combination of both. Mostly from the stress and the trauma. Um, like we mentioned, the grief can sometimes be traumatic events for people if it happens suddenly.
Yeah.
If they were caretakers, that
Mm,
process can be stressful and cause a lot of physical changes for the caretaker themselves. And once their role is finished, there's a recovery process for them to get their bodies back mentally and physically,
yes.
depending
Yes.
on how much they had to endure during that period or for the length of
Mm,
time they had to endure. Um, so that's one set of people. Like we mentioned, is the people going through kind of the normal day stressors, the neck, the pain, the shoulder, and not really knowing how to get rid of it because it's just a constant persistent, the folks that are going to the doctor and not
yes.
getting resolution. Like, oh, I have this
Yeah.
pain. There doesn't seem to be anything wrong with you, right? Like, and it's
Yes.
going down this rabbit hole of, doctor's visits, steroid shots, sometimes
Yeah.
even surgeries to try to correct
Mm,
something that maybe at one point didn't need correcting, right? We could have
yes.
done the exercise and mitigated a lot of it early on. And even if you're feeling it, reversing it. So taking the time
Mhm.
you need, even those few minutes a day, like I know time is precious, but small, right? And, I just think about my parents who definitely didn't know about this as a healing method. if they were to have started doing this when they were, my age or even sooner, they probably have felt a lot better. Wouldn't have suffered from a lot of the, you know, other injuries or surgeries, or, my mom is still kind of going through this constant chasing down different physicians, sciatic pain, like, well, have you done exercises? Have you, and but at a certain point, like I said, when it's just been persisting for so long, for some people years. I was with her at one of her appointments. I was kind of overhearing a lady, and she said she had been going to this doctor for steroid shots for over 10 years. And he finally stopped
Oh
giving it
my.
to her. She was pretty upset because she was in pain, but she also, in the same breath, acknowledged that it doesn't work. So it might be time to do something
Oh, the
different.
placebo.
Right?
Yes. Wow. It just reminds me of so many people that are going through chronic pain issues.
Yes.
We often see a lot of people going to pain management, and I think about people with fibromyalgia. To
Mhm.
me, my honest opinion, I think a lot of them suffer from trauma. I think that they're also going through trauma and grief. So I think
Yeah.
that's what is manifesting in their body. That's just my own opinion.
Yeah. I've seen it a lot. I'm in a couple fibromyalgia groups, sharing some of my information as well in those groups online. Um, but it takes a little more work. It's that, like, it's the mentality as well, the mindset, and being able to move forward, being able to manage the pain. Like, okay, we recognize you feel this way. Um, we don't, or at least in the work that I do in my training, try not to focus too much on what caused it, because that can tend to cause people to kind of go down the rabbit hole of being stuck,
Oh,
right? Worrying too much about
interesting.
what caused it, but you
Mm,
moving forward. Okay, this happened, or and sometimes they may not even fully know what caused it. But recognizing you feel this way, but let's figure out how you can feel better. When don't you feel this way? What activities are you doing? Who are you around? When do you feel less pain or none at all? And anchoring those feelings, reminding them of those activities, doing more of that or less, depending on the situation, um,
yeah.
so that they can be on a path of pain management. Sometimes pain isn't going to go away completely, but making it so that you can function. You mentioned a little bit earlier, asking about like sports injuries and things like that. My son is an athlete, and sprained a couple ankles here and there. Fortunately, hasn't had any broken bones, but we use it to help, get him on a path of recovery faster,
Wow.
lessening the
Interesting.
time that it takes to um, heal the ankle. So,
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. So you mentioned it doesn't take a lot of time, that these exercises can be done briefly at the end of your day.
yes,
Can you walk us through a short exercise?
definitely. So, if you like, I can lead you. You close your eyes and take a few deep breaths in through your nose and exhale out through your mouth. In through your nose, fill up your belly, expand your lungs, and an audible exhale out through your mouth. Feel your shoulders fall, tension release through your neck and the stress melt away. Continue your normal breath, inhaling and exhaling through your nose. Feel the rise and fall of your chest, the expansion of your belly and diaphragm as you inhale and exhale. Bringing awareness to your body, starting from the top of your head, relieving tension through the side of your face, softening your eyes and your jaw, having awareness of how you feel in this moment, where you might feel muscle aches or tension as you continue your breath. Feel the energy flow down through your neck and shoulders, being aware of where you might carry your stress, being aware of any discomfort in your seat, feeling your body make adjustments as you start to let go and relieve all that negative energy and breathe in the positive, breathe in the oxygen, allow the blood flow through your lungs all the way through your limbs. And take this moment to draw awareness to the parts of your body that are causing the most concern. Noting those points so you can give those parts of your body the extra love and attention you need. Good. On your next inhale, take a deep breath in through your nose. And when you exhale, flutter your eyes open and come back to the room. Now, where were those points for you that you marked mentally that needed
My
extra love?
my heart and my head.
Right. So from there, we can identify some exercises. So for your heart, we have some heart opening exercises, which would just be extending your arms wide. You can, it's hard to see on my camera, flip your palms. And when you flip your palms toward the ceiling, you're opening your chest, rotating your shoulders towards the back of the room. You feel a stretch through the front of your shoulders and your chest when you flip those palms, lifting your head and your gaze, rotating those shoulders. Then exhale, flip your palms down, kind of round your shoulders and your back, bring your chin to your chest. You might do a slight tuck in your pelvis. We call that the pelvic tuck. So I don't know if you're familiar with yoga, that kind of cat-cow pose. It's basically the cat position, but seated, and we're also flipping our arms. And then on the inhale, rotating back open, opening the chest, lifting your gaze, finding an arch in your back. And then exhale, rotating down. And you'll just do those as many times as you need, inhaling and exhaling, opening the shoulders, the chest, relieving all that tension. You'll definitely feel a shift there. And then with your head, doing some more of that breath work activity, especially if it's like headache, tension, migraine. If it's more neck, you can do some stretches. But I'd say if it's more of a tension thing, more of the meditation and breath work is really going to do you the most good there.
Yes. Wow, amazing. I feel good already. I feel really relaxed and calm. I feel great. Thank you so
Great.
much.
No problem.
Yeah. We have a comment from our audience member, Mimi De Vera. She said, great help. We'll definitely go back to this episode for the breathing technique. Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Griffin. You
Yeah.
also have a website. And
Yes.
on the website, yes, you offer some coaching. Can you tell us what do you offer? What services you offer?
Yes. Our most popular is our somatic community. So that's a virtual community that I started online where you get to connect with other like-minded people who are on the similar healing journey using the somatic exercises. We meet live online once a week. And it's your opportunity to ask questions if there's specific needs that you want to address, like, hey, can we do some exercises for shoulder, back, or we can do that. We usually will do a journaling activity and discussion, as well as I always end with the breath work and meditation. And then we have a chat function. It's also an app. So throughout the week, you can celebrate your wins or talk about your struggles. We're really there to support one another through that healing journey. And
that's so awesome.
Yeah, that's the most popular. And then I also offer the one-on-one coaching as well. So for those who want more of their specific needs met, sometimes in the group format, people may not always feel comfortable with sharing their whole lives, right? They might just get, but it's a private community. It's not public, right? But creating a safe space for people for when they're ready to share, you can, but we're building, the resources you need that you can use whenever you want. But if you're ready to have some major breakthroughs in a shorter period of time, you can book those one-on-one sessions with me.
Oh, awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Griffin, for coming on the show today. This has been just an absolute delight, and I feel so good. And I think I'm going to be contacting you some more for some more breath work.
Definitely. I love doing it. So
yes, thank you
happy
so
to be
much.
here.
Yes.
Thanks
So
for having
any
me.
projects for you? Any more books on the way?
Yes. So actually on the 19th, I'm launching the book bundle, really. So if you missed parts 1 and 2, the book bundle combines both of them. So you can get 2 for 1, basically, at a lower cost. And then I will have a third book, hopefully, coming out. I think we're scheduled late April, early May. Don't have an exact day yet, but that one's going to focus more on the pain and traumatic events. So,
wow. Oh, thank you so much. We have another viewer comment. Norma Man, sorry, I'm going to mess this up. Manigan. Good evening, Poe, Texas, watching from Paganasan. That's in Philippines. These are our viewers in the Philippines. So you're international.
yeah.
Thank you so much for watching, Norma. We appreciate you.
Yes.
Thank you all, everybody, tonight for this wonderful and fantastic episode. Please check out Dr. Griffin, check out her books, check out her website. If you're dealing with any trauma or grief or pain, please seek out either her community or her coaching one-on-one sessions. She is an absolute delight and pleasure. Thank you again, everybody. All right, well, that's all for tonight. Stay tuned to next week with more Pink Table Talk. I hope you all have a wonderful and blessed evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
you.